Example 1, given triangle XYZ, state the 6 trigonometric ratios for angle X. That means we have to write the 3 primary trig ratios and the 3 reciprocal ratios. So first thing, we're going to label all the sides in relation to angle X. This is going to be our hypotenuse here. The 9-unit side is going to be our opposite side, and the 16-unit side is going to be the adjacent side. Let's start with the 3 primary trig ratios. We have sine as the ratio of the opposite side and the hypotenuse. So looking at the values, we have 9 and 25. So sine theta is 9 over 25. Then the cosine ratio is next. It's the adjacent over hypotenuse. The adjacent side is 16. The hypotenuse is 25. So we have 16 over 25 for that ratio. And we have the tangent ratio, which is the opposite side over the adjacent. So we have 9 over 16. Now for the reciprocal ratios. The reciprocal of sine is cosecant, and it's the hypotenuse over the opposite side. So the hypotenuse is 25, the opposite is 9. You can also just look at the sine ratio and take the reciprocal of that number. Reciprocal of 9 over 25 is 25 over 9. Cosine, its reciprocal is secant, and it's going to be hypotenuse over adjacent. And if I look at this value and take its reciprocal, I end up with 25 over 16. Reciprocal of tan is cotangent here, and it's adjacent over opposite. And the reciprocal of 9 over 16 becomes 16 over 9. Okay, let's look at questions where we have to evaluate. We have secant of 20 degrees. We have to rewrite this in terms of its corresponding primary trig ratio, which would be cosine, and it would equal simply to 1 over cos of 20 degrees. And if I take the calculator, I end up with an answer of 1.0642, and this is the only case where you have to round to 4 decimal places when we have trig ratios. In order to be accurate, we need to use all 4 decimal places. Okay. Now for cotangent, the reciprocal is tangent, so it's 1 over tangent of 40. That's going to be equal to cotangent of 40, and then using our calculators again to evaluate, get an answer of 1.1918 for the ratio. Okay. On to the last example. It says determine the value of theta. Here we're looking for the angle knowing the reciprocal ratios. Secant, we're going to have to rewrite in terms of its corresponding primary trig ratio, and that's cosine. So cos theta would equal to the reciprocal of 4/3, which is 3/4. Now that we know what cos theta is equal to, we can use the inverse of cosine to find the angle. And when we do that, we get an answer of 41.41 degrees. Now, you could have rewritten secant theta as 1 over cos theta, and then cross-multiplied to give you 4 cos theta equal to 3, and then to get cos theta by itself, divided everything by 4, okay? And then you would see that you would get the same line here as we did here. It's a lot simpler, just go directly from here to here simply by taking the reciprocal of this ratio and the reciprocal of secant, which is just cos. So let's look at cosecant theta, which is equal to 3.0687. The primary trig ratio that's associated with this is sine. So sine as the reciprocal is cosecant. And next I have to take the reciprocal of this number, which can be written over 1. And the reciprocal of that would just simply be 1 over 3.0687. And now I take the inverse of sine followed by that ratio of 1 over 3.0687. And using my calculator, I get an answer of 19.02 degrees.